these other materials. Use this Moo Carve here. One block. Here's it here. For carving the stamp, I have my good old lino knives. And as you'll see later, I could have used some much smaller and finer knives, especially for carving the font, because it's so small and detailed. We will come to that. I started out cutting out a smaller piece of the Moo Carve block. Fantastically easy to cut in. My first goal then was to make sure that the scale of the logo would match the scale of the ink pad itself. And for your info, to get the logo design to the paper, I simply traced onto my computer screen. I remembered then to mirror the design in Photoshop. Not the first time though, but I did so in the second time, which cost me a bit of time, but always remember to mirror your design. I then had to transfer the design itself to the block before carving, and I did so by using a fat oil pastel on the design. Notice that right now it's not on the flip side, as I will eventually flip it when I will trace it onto the rubber block. Then simply go over the design with a pencil, adding pressure so that the oil pastel then will transfer to the rubber block. And go over and fine tune the design a bit with a fine liner. You're also welcome to check out my lino cut tutorial where I used some carbon paper specifically made for transferring artwork in lino printing or textile, for example. And so finally it's time for carving. Trouble came when I had to do some of the tiny font work, especially the A and the B and the D letter, because there I had to go in and make a hole within the font. That was kind of tricky. I tried using an owl first, but a scalpel actually worked better. And this is also where I realized that my design would come out more rough than what I wanted. But at this point I just went with it. But in case you have a more fine and complex design, I urge you to use some really fine, small lino knives that will be much better suited for you. But then came the moment of truth when I did the test print. It was as I feared, very rustic in the design, but I could at least do a bit of fixing here and there, and the second round of test print came out quite okay. I started the next process now, which is something I never tried before, doing the handle of the stamp, which was going to be made in wood. I'm quite a big fan of working with wood actually. I'm not very good at it, but I like the process. So I found this old piece of oak tree in the basement and I sawed off a fitting piece for the stamp. I then used some strong glue. This is a brand called Loctite. There are so many brands out there. I put it on the pressure using books. I could also have used a clamp. As you see here, you can risk that the stamp itself starts to glide off of your wooden block because of the pressure and the unevenness of the design of the stamp, I guess. But I ended up using just fewer books and it worked out all right. Just make sure that your block doesn't slide. Onwards to something I had looked forward to making, the handle. A friend of mine came up with the excellent idea of using an old rolling pin. A great design, plus it comes with a natural metal stick inside, great for creating a strong connection between the wooden block and the handle. With a pen, I just quickly marked how long the metal pin should go into the block. I sawed off what I needed. At this point, it was a 8:15 a.m. Saturday morning. I was so eager about the project that I forgot everything around me, and my wife came up to me and said, "What are you doing?" I would be so annoyed if my neighbor would saw in the middle at 8 o'clock Sunday morning. Please stop what you're doing. So she was totally right about that. So I waited 2 hours. I was just so eager. But all that was left for me was to drill the hole and once again use the faithful Loctite glue both on the base of the handle and in the hole to make sure that everything would stay locked. Så skal vi se en gang her. Så skal vi have noget limhørnet i. Sådan, værsgo sådan. Det er bare lidt mere lim nu. After investing such a good amount of time with these things here, I knew that I had to paint something, just to give it that glazing on the cake. So I found a beautiful Prussian blue acrylic paint. You probably could come off better using wood paint, specifically designed for wood, but acrylic I found also works just fine. And there we go, we have the stamp with handle and all. It's a very fun process, and it was nice working with crafting and using wood, making all the things from the bottom. I sure will make some simple stamps in the future using the rest of the Moo Carve, so stay tuned. If you've watched this much, I just want to say thank you very much for tuning in, and have fun drawing.